Are you looking for historical fiction books to read? You love historical fiction and you just can't wait to get your hands on one. And you're looking for some excellent recommendations. If the answer to these questions is yes, then my friends, you've come to the right video. Hey guys, I'm Sankalpita and you're watching Book Geeks India, which is a channel where I make book related videos. If you like books, if you love reading, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, like and share my videos and turn that notification on because really guys, you have to turn it on. There is no other option. I'm not giving you one. Please go ahead and turn that notification on so that you will be notified every time I post a video. I love historical fiction. There is no denying the kind of favoritism that I show towards books belonging to this genre. In fact, when I think about it, some of my best reads ever belong to this genre. Hence, it's only natural that I dedicate a separate video to this genre, a separate best of 2021 books to this genre. So here in this video, I bring to you 5 historical fiction that I'm sure you will love. Now, to be very honest, I did not read like a lot of historical fiction last year, but all the books that I read were pretty awesome. Now, the books that I'm going to talk about are mentioned in no particular order. Like all of them are ranked equally. Like I cannot say which one is my favorite because all of them are. But at the same time, I'm also going to mention which category of reader all of these books belong to or are recommended to. Because some of these are books meant only for voracious reader. If you are a beginner level reader and you go and pick that particular book, then you will definitely not enjoy it. And now without further ado, let's get on with the video. Book number 1 is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penna. Now, this is a book that I listened to as an audiobook on my Storytel app, and this is a book which I will recommend to readers who are either regular or beginners. Voracious readers also can give it a go, but I think there are much better options for you to explore. Now, this book is a book that talks about women characters, like very strong women characters. So, there are 3 women who are very strong and very determined, courageous as well. And this book takes you to the London of 1790s. Now, there is this woman who runs an apothecary, and what she does is that she helps other women get rid of the torturous and traumatic people in their lives, like men in their lives. And how she does that? She delivers poisons which are to be administered to these men. So basically she uses all her apothecary skills in disposing of lives and helping other women. Now coming back to the present day, there is this aspiring historian who discovers a secret, like a vial, a glass vial near the Thames, and she's like digging there and she goes there and she finds this vial, and that kind of establishes a link to the unsolved apothecary murders that tormented and that haunted the London of 200 years ago. So this woman, this aspiring historian, is connected to those 2 women who lived back then, and this is a book that talks about the issues that women face. And so this is essentially a historical fiction, but at the same time it has a much lighter note. And if you're thinking that it's a crime fiction, no, it is not. It is again essentially a literary fiction and a historical fiction. Now, book number 2 is a book that I've spoken about in my December reading wrap up and spoken very favorably about in that video. So this is The Granddaughter Project by Shaheen Chishti. Now, this is again a beautiful read, much more, I'll say, much more serious than the previous one and much more heavy in terms of the emotional turmoil that the women go through and in terms of the tragedy that their lives see. So this is the story of these 3 grandmothers and their 3 granddaughters. Now there is this woman called Kamla who has a granddaughter, and she sends Maya, her granddaughter, on this quest. So Maya lives in UK, but for this quest she has to travel all the way to India and she has to go to a remote village and find out a tree over there. Once she does that, she finds that there are 3 letters inside that tree trunk. Now she has to read the letter that is meant for her, and there are 2 other letters in addition to that. So she has to deliver these 2 letters to other individuals. Now this is the story of 3 grandmothers who write letters to their granddaughters and narrate their entire story. This is a very tragic tale, it's a very emotional tale, and it's a tale which is women centric. It talks about all the issues that these women have gone through, and these 3 women, like Kamla, Helga and Lynette, they come from different backgrounds. They become friends somehow, but they come from different countries, they come from different races, they come from different socio-cultural political background, and their lives are like completely different. But even then they connect because the tragedies that they see in their life, maybe that brings them together. And this is a book that talks to you about so much more. And all these three grandmothers, they have seen some of the worst events in history. So one has seen the Holocaust, one has seen the Bengal famine of 1940s, and the other one has seen the race riots of Notting Hill. Now, through these letters, these women acquaint their granddaughters with their history, their past, and their story. But also in the process, they help these women, their granddaughters, understanding what they are as a woman, understanding their true potential as a woman, and helping them understand what women should be like to survive in this world. And at the same time, guys, this is a book that I would recommend to regular or voracious readers. I don't think it's a book meant for beginner level readers. Like, the language is not that difficult, but it'll be a little challenging. But even then, if you're somebody who wants to improve themselves as a reader, wants to improve their language skills and like English in general, then you should go and pick this book up. It's a beautiful read again. You will not be disappointed. The next book that I have is another one which again talks of women characters and is essentially again a women centric read. This one also I will recommend to regular and voracious readers. I don't think beginners should pick it up because it will be a little difficult for them. So this one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I don't think you can see the cover, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Like, there is this beautiful detailing on the cover, and that makes it like a cherishable read, like a read that you should have in your collection. Now, when I think about it, I think this book was one of my favorite books of 2021, like in all categories, because it's just so beautiful. And the main character over here, Elsa Martinelli, like, she's strong, she's fierce, she's independent, but at the same time she's a character who's very gentle and very soft as well. In her personality, she encompasses a whole spectrum, and that's just beautiful to witness. Her transformation, her dynamics with different people that she comes to know in her life is just beautiful to read and witness. Now, this book takes you to the 1930s of America during the time of the Great Depression. But even in that era, it takes you to a sub period, and this sub period is called the Dust Bowl era. So, like, the story starts in Texas of 1938, I think 1934, sorry, 1934. Now, the Dust Bowl era was clearly the worst part of the Great Depression, and this was a period that was characterized by these huge dust storms that would consume everything in their path, that would just destroy everything there in their path, and that combined with severe drought conditions rendered lakhs of families poor and homeless and thousands of people dead. Now, if you want to know more, you just Google it and you will understand what kind of tragedies people went through during this time. Now, this was also a time when people used to wear gas masks because the dust was just so severe, and a lot of people died from dust pneumonia. That is when dust goes inside your lungs and it destroys everything, their functioning. And this is again a tragic read. Like, it talks about family, about the importance of land, about the importance of love, and how love alone is a big thing, it's a huge thing. And yeah, Elsa Martinelli is a beautiful character. She isn't like a very pretty one, but that's what makes her so special, because her challenges and her struggles that she goes through as a woman who is not perceived as beautiful. You would understand what I'm telling here. I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but it's a beautiful read, guys. Just go and pick it up. You will not be disappointed. And just look at this beauty. The cover is like a pretty thing to behold. So just go ahead and read it. You would love it. Again, I will say this again, not meant for beginners, only for voracious and regular readers. Kristen Hanna is an amazing writer, and I just cannot say enough about her. The next book that I have for you guys is a book that I would recommend only to voracious readers, not even to regular readers, and strictly no for beginners, because this is a book that is like the language and the theme and also the way it's written, it's meant for voracious readers, people who read a lot, and it's a little slow as well, so that will also mean that you have to have a lot of patience in reading this book. This book actually won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in the year 2017, and then there is also an Amazon web series, I think it's on Prime Videos. I watched it, but I wouldn't recommend it so much. Any day I loved the book more. This is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. And like I told you, I did see the web series and it was very, very slow. Like, the book is slow, but that was like a really different level. The historic background of this book is slavery in America, and it takes you to the early 19th century, where you meet this girl called Cora. Cora, who's a young girl who lives in this cotton plantation in Georgia. And even amongst the slaves, she's an outcast. Why? Because she's an orphan. Her mother, Mabel, was the only person ever to escape successfully from this plantation, and that's the reason everybody already has their eyes on her. And then one day a guy called Caesar comes into her life. This is a guy who's again a slave who comes from Virginia, and he tells Cora about this underground railroad system which actually helps slaves to escape to other safer states where slavery isn't as bad as it is in Georgia. So she agrees to do that. She agrees to escape, and together Caesar and Cora, they escape. Now this book traces their journey, how they run from one state to another, to another, to another, and what happens to them, what kind of tragedies they go through to survive. And then there's another character, the slave catcher called Ridgway, who's always hot on their trail, who's always catching up on them wherever they are going. So she has to run from him as well. So this is again a heartbreaking portrayal of slavery in America. Another thing that I loved about this book is that it tells you not just Cora's story but also Mabel's and her grandmother Ajari's story, who was the one who was abducted from her village in Africa and she was brought to America, and how tragic and how like outrageous, if you read about it, how outrageous all of it is or was. It seems so heartless to me. Like, how on earth humans managed to stoop down to that level? How is it humanly possible to do such horrible things to fellow human beings? This is a story which is heartbreaking, which is beautifully written, tragic, and a lot more things, but only meant for voracious readers. Go and give it a read. You will not be disappointed. Like, this is one story. I like. It's so clear in my mind. After all these months, it's very, very clear in my mind because I loved reading every part of it, and I absorbed this story like a long lost cousin or a long lost friend. And yeah, by all means, go ahead and read it. So guys, the last book that I have is this one, Mastan, the Fallen Patriot of Delhi. Now this is a book by Vineet Bajpai, and this is a book that I would recommend to beginner level readers or regular readers. Not exactly to voracious readers because some of the complexities are missing in this one, but this is a book which provides wholesome entertainment. So it's a historical fiction, yes, but it also has elements of drama, it has romance, it has a little bit comedy. So this is set during the 1857 First War of Independence. So the brutalities of the British are rising all over India, and dissent is also rising among the masses, among the ruling classes, and people are like banding together to do something, to raise their voices, even if by the means of violence. So that happens, and then there is this character called Mastan, whose story we get to know amidst this chaotic time. Now, what I like about this book is that, again, like I told you, it's a wholesome entertainment, and there are a lot of emotions, but mostly that the Delhi that it talks about, you will read about that Delhi and you will like fall in love with it because it's so historical and it has this vintage medieval vibe that I loved, that I so loved. Also, this book has like so many historical figures mentioned in it. So you have Mangal Pandey, you have Lord William Bentinck, you have Tipu Sultan, you have Bahadur Shah Zafar, you also have Mirza Ghalib, and all of these figures are incorporated into the story. And you also have the thugs, which were very popular back then, and that also comes into the story. They also come into the story. They have a little part to play, and the overall effect is just mesmerizing. So a wholesome entertainer, if you are looking for something like that and you are a regular level reader or beginner, go and pick it up. You will not be disappointed. So guys, these are the 5 historical fiction that I would certainly recommend to you. I have 4 copies with me, and one is a book that I listened to as an audiobook on my Storytel app. I will put all the links down below so you can go and check them out. But yes, one thing I can guarantee you, pick any of these based on your reading level and you will not be disappointed. You would actually come back and tell me. Also guys, I am very active on Instagram, so if you ever pick up any book on my recommendation and you read it, please post a story and tag me. I will love to share it on my platform. And I will see you with another video super soon. Until then, bye.